Good afternoon. I'm Sacred Fire of the Holy Spirit, or Sacred Fire for short. This is my first channel on YouTube, and I've been inspired to bring in some channeled messages, either through tarot or clairaudience or clairvoyance, to you to help clear up a few things in the energy field. I was given my name through lucid dreaming, as I do a lot of my spiritual work through lucid dreaming. I have been called an ancient soul, but I'm not entirely sure if I am, probably, because of how I sound. And I'm hoping I'll be able to help you in future and be able to release some new videos. So thank you. Hopefully your comments won't be too harsh, and I'll be able to join the community in helping out in the collective. So let's begin. Calling upon angels, my spirit guides, God himself to help and give some clarifying messages. Thank you. So I primarily work with 2 decks when I feel called to. I won't use them all the time in my readings. Sometimes I will be doing tarot readings, and occasionally I'll be doing channeled messages either through speech or using like narrative text messaging through YouTube. So the first deck I have is my very old trusty deck, which has been with me for, I would say, since my teenage years, so let's say to about nearly 2 decades. And this is one of the original ancient tarot decks by Clive Barrett. I have to be very careful in using this because there's a little bit of nudity here. So as you can see on this card, there isn't. On the 4 of Discs or 4 of Pentacles, there isn't. But it's a very interesting deck to use. And also, I love Studio Ghibli. And I will be using their playing cards deck in order to clarify. And this is the Howls Castle deck. Very careful for copyright purposes. So what I will be doing is not really be reading like 6 of Hearts, but be reading the images that are on the cards in order to help clarify reading. So let's shoot. What should we be talking about today or listening into today? A lot of confusion in the air. So there is a lot of confusion in the general energy at the moment, which is what they want me to clarify, and which I think we should focus for on this session. So what is this confusion? Let's get to it. You'll have to forgive me, I don't shuffle very well. So let's get to it. So we have some confusion with the 4 of Wands. So some people read this as the 1111 card. I read this as stability. Between my take on it is in between 2 soulmates. So perhaps this is really confusion over soulmates or life partners in general. So why is there this confusion? I'm getting through it's confusion over people wanting to know who their soulmate is if they haven't met them, or if their current partner is their soulmate. Just want to confirm this. Okay. See if one picks up the deck. This one is reversed. Bear in mind I don't read reversals, and these can't really be reversed because of the images. Finding a way forward. So here we have our main character looking for a way forward, using the ring to find her way to her love, which is Howl. And another. Okay, 2 cards decided to come out. So this is a scene at the very end where Sophie and Howl send off, who is apparently Sophie's true love. But in the story, it's actually Howl. The feelings between Howl and Sophie, those two are their true loves. And they are together as a family, with the dog obviously looking on. And we also have the magic of transformation when their house or their little cabin, their castle, is being transformed into Sophie's old home, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere where she feels familiar. So let's read into this. So really the confusion is about soulmates coming together, or 2 partners coming together, or whether this individual is your soulmate. And it's trying to find the way forward. And perhaps relying on an external force. So you see Sophie is looking at her and looking at for a path forward towards this beautiful home life. So it may be having to say farewell to somebody in order to have this beautiful family life together. And my apologies if it's not focusing. And we also have the magic of transformation. So this, to me, means that we must go through this transformation, a transformation, in order to find the path forward to our soulmate or partner. What I would like to say is transformation, as I'm known as a sacred fire, and my gift most likely is transformation, as it's been seen throughout my entire life. What I can say about transformation is that it's not instantaneous. It can take time. In the spiritual and mental realms, that happens a lot faster. However, in the emotional and physical realms, which is much more, the vibration is much slower, it's much more dense. It takes a little bit of time for that gap to be bridged. So for the transformation to happen in the physical world. So we just need to give a little bit of time for this transformation to happen. What could assist in the transformation here? Or what is required for transformation? Too much. Let's keep shuffling. Apologies again, I do not shuffle very well. What is required for transformation? For our viewers. Ooh, quite a few came out. Let's pick. So, we have Sophie here facing her fears of flying, with Howl reassuring her. So we could look at this as a divine masculine and divine feminine. And we have to see Sophie here is an old lady. Sophie is actually very young. The main character, she's actually a young girl, but was transformed into old lady by the Wicked Witch's spell. He was also in love with Howl. So you see, the divine masculine doesn't have any prejudices against what she actually looks like, accepts her and supports her to overcome her fears. So it may well be that your divine masculine or your masculine counterpart needs to step up and be able to support the divine feminine or the divine feminine within himself. So that's a part of the transformation. This will, of course, lead to, this is the ending of the movie, the divine masculine and divine feminine together, where Sophie, you see, has become younger but has remained grey. And that, to me, tells me that she's retained the wisdom of being an old lady and has reverted back to her young self. So this tells me that having the divine masculine step up, it ensures that the masculine and the feminine will be able to find harmony at the end. Now here we see Howls moving castle, the place where they actually reside in the mountains. So for me, this really just shows the fact that perhaps there needs to be a little bit of isolation. And we have to remember that this castle actually moves, okay? So that he's moving. I'm feeling this, that the masculine is moving in isolation, or because the castle hides in the clouds. I'm getting this from the angels. They reminded me that the castle hides in the clouds. He hides. So it could be a case of he's hiding, moving along. You can't actually see him coming towards you or moving towards you, his home. Even though it looks like, and you can see Howl's moving castle, it's like a bunch of little parts all together, like makes his home. So perhaps it's little things that, sorry, the camera's not focusing as well. Like, I would say traits of himself that mesh together, that is his home, that is who he is, part of who he is, who he comes home, what he comes home to. So it could really be that he's really working on himself. He's really working on the parts of himself in secret, in solitude, hiding in the hills, maybe. But he's still moving towards you. So really and truly, what the cards are trying to say is, look, have faith. He's working on himself because he's going to need to support you. He's going to need to support your transformation and his inner transformation of supporting his divine feminine, so that in the end, he can come towards you into the physical, into the 3D, and you two will come into union. This will really be your happily ever after. So I can see that a lot of the transformation is really for the divine masculine to take, because I think you as divine feminine has been doing a lot of the work, because we can see here feminine. She is making her way in the beginning. Sophie is actually making a way. She's trying to find a path forward, as you've been trying to find a path forward and has been going through your own transformation. So Sophie inside the castle. And we have to remember, Sophie and Howl end up living together in this magical castle. And so I would say a lot of the traits, a lot of what is going on is mirrored, because if you're divine twins, if you're soulmates, doesn't matter where you are in the journey, but a lot of, I would say, situations in order to get the healing that you needed in order to become a more healed version of yourself, we have to remember that a lot of the transformation has to go on inside. And with this transformation, with what I can see with Sophie and together with the older lady and with Markle, for me, this also represents Markle is a child who is trained to become a magician, which is Howl's apprentice, and the dog, who is acting like a wisdom. So you are being guided, because I can't remember, Heen, I think if I'm not mistaken, Heen guides them along this journey. So you are being guided and you are being protected, because a dog is very, very protective and loyal. It's to also help heal and transform your inner child. And this is the old witch that originally put the curse on Sophie, but then had all her magic removed by Heen's master. So there may have been a feminine figure. It doesn't matter whether physically they're feminine or masculine, but they might have a lot of feminine traits. And they've had all of their, I would say, nasty traits being removed from them to become a more docile and neutral human being. And you see, Sophie forgives her enough to let her live with them, because she's got nowhere else to go. So maybe this transformation of forgiveness, you may have to learn to forgive and forgive others, forgive yourself, let go of the negative energies, of negative patterns, heal your inner child and allow the higher self, your spirit guides, angels, God creator, to help guide you along your journey. Always have faith in trust in trust. So I hope this short message has helped, and I look forward to seeing you in my future readings or future channelings. Thanks so much.